Okay, it's recording. Okay, I'm sharing my screen. Okay, so we're gonna start talking about the math concepts with the first topic is sets and sorting. Um, we start with this topic because being able to understand sets and recognize what makes a set a collection is an important ability for young children to develop in order to understand more complex mathematical ideas. So that's why we'll start with the what is sorting, what do you mean by sets and attributes and so on and so forth. So this is the one that I was telling you, like we're gonna start with the interactive part. So when you look at this image, which one do you think doesn't belong? Like three of them goes together, one of them doesn't. So when you look at it, what comes to you?
I guess it's the square. Um, well, I mean, all of them are geometric figures, right? Circle. But the only one that looks a different shape is the brownie.
Brownie. So you notice that there, oh, it has like sides, but these are more curvy. So by you
Mhm.
looking at their shape as an attribute to sort them out and identify which one doesn't belong. When I ask this question to myself, I say the pink one doesn't belong because it's pink. Everything else is brown, you know? Um,
Mm.
so again, depending on what attribute you choose, anything can be sorted and resorted again, depending on the rule. So in this case, for example, you chose the shape as an attribute. I chose the color as an attribute to sort. So the beauty with sorting is like depending on the rule, the answer will look different and you determine what the rule is. I like using these kind of visuals, which one doesn't belong in general, whether we're doing a sets or sorting activity or any other activity. These kind of visual activities, conversation starters are called low threshold, high ceiling activities. When I say low threshold, I mean anyone can step in. Like anyone will see something because the images are relevant to people who consume these products. And also so they have some sort of experience with it. And even like a 3 or 4 year old will know what brownie is or basketball is, especially if they live in the western part of the world. Um, but it could be a high ceiling activity too, because the things that you're noticing could be really, really complex. For example, in your case, your noticing was complex. That oh, these are all like curvy, and this one is not, and that requires geometric knowledge, right? So my noticing color is more simple because it's just like most of the people, typically developing children, will know their colors and it will jump at them that these are brown and this one is pink. But being able to say curvy, and this is not, and it requires that's a more high ceiling noticing because you
Mm.
already use additional math knowledge that you already know to sort this out and identify which doesn't belong. Okay. So hopefully this warmed our brains up about the idea of sorting and attributes and things like that. Um, so as you notice with the first activity that we did, when it comes to sets and sorting, we really focus on how they're similar and how they're different. And that what makes sorting a sorting activity that oftentimes we group things by how they're similar to one another and how they're different from each other. Okay. So sorting and attributes, what's mathematical about this, one might say. So sorting is the ability to identify similarities and differences among a set of objects and grouping accordingly. And this isn't a prerequisite math skill for children to understand more complex mathematical ideas. Um, and things like that could be you might say, what are some more complex mathematical ideas? So when they're learning about shapes, for example, later, the way that it's important for children to learn the shapes so they can focus on how these shapes are similar and different each other. And then that why do we call the shape like triangle, not rectangle? Because every other thing that you're learning is we always, when it comes to math, we always going to talk about how similar and different these ideas from each other. Within the, under the like concept of geometry, we'll talk about like, yeah, like square and rectangle are similar, meaning that they both have four sides and they have right angles. But they're also different in the sense that rectangle has two sides that are longer and two sides that are shorter, but square has all sides are equal in length. So in that sense, square is a special rectangle. So you talk about how these two shapes are similar to one another, also what makes them unique. So we're gonna keep this ability to understand how things are similar and different becomes really foundational to understand more complex idea. And that's true for numbers too, meaning that 2 and 4 are similar in the sense that they're both even numbers. But they're different also because 4 is bigger than 2, but they're also similar at the same time. There are two twos in 4. So in order to understand how numbers are connected to one another, that children need to understand how similar and different they are from each other. So this ability to being able to identify similarities and differences becomes really, really important. And that's what's mathematical about sorting and understanding sets from early on before even talking about any other math concepts. So the children are able to make these decisions based on the attributes of things that have similar. They recognize this, they notice similarities, they categorize based on that, and then eventually they use that skill to access more complex math ideas. Okay, so there are different ways of sorting. It could be binary sort, could be like two choices, meaning that either this or that, meaning that these are all the hard objects here, and these are all the soft object, hard versus soft objects sorted out, binary sort. It could be sorted by color, which I did with the pink versus brown ones, shape, which you did with, oh, this one, these are all more curvy and this is not. So you can sort things by material type, meaning that, oh, this is rougher, this is smoother, this is bumpy, use texture and so on and so forth. And then there are different ways of sorting things. So and when we're designing sorting activities, it's important that we don't always sort by color. We use different attributes so the children understand that things can be sorted in different ways depending on what attribute you focus on. So regardless of the age group, whether you're doing sorting activities with preschooler or kindergarten or first grade, the big ideas related to sorting doesn't change. It's just the complexity of the child behavior changes when it comes to sorting. So the big ideas, we have three big ideas related to sorting. The first one, attributes can be used to sort collections into sets, which we did when we did the which one doesn't belong. I use the color as an attribute. You use the shape as an attribute. The same collection can be sorted in different ways, which we did again. I did it by color, you did it by shape. So we look at the same things and you group it differently. I grouped it differently. And sets can be compared and ordered, meaning that, oh, this group has more, this group has less. Two sets, that groups that you created can further also be compared to one another and ordered if necessary, from biggest to smallest, largest to smallest, or however you wanna, tallest to shortest, whatever you are sorting. So there are different types of sorting in terms of terminology. One of the type of sorting is called open, another one is closed. So the open one is something where you give children a collection of something and you ask them sort them by a rule, by an attribute, and you let the child decide what that is. Pretty much similar to when I ask you which one doesn't belong. I just give you images of things in a like grid, and then you chose and I chose. So that's the open sorting, meaning that I decide as a child how I'm going to sort this out. And the other one is closed. And then the closed one, I give you, there's like an agenda, like I provide you the categories. Can you sort these by color? Can you sort these by size? And things like that. I'll grab something real quick. I'm coming back. For example, open sorting example, closed sorting, meaning that I gave you the rules, kind of, will be like this. If I give you, do you see these like bears that I have? Different sizes and colors.
Yes.
So I can give you these and I can tell you, sort these by color. And this is a closed sorting because I close your options. You only have one option, color.
Mm.
And I'll give you an example of open sorting where I give you like handful of, do you see these buttons? And I
Yes.
tell you sort them. This is open sorting because you
Okay.
can sort them by size if you want. You can sort them by color. You can even sort them by how many holes they have in the middle. You know,
Mhm.
sky is the limit. You can even sort them by there's texture because some of them bumpy, some of them are smoother. You know, some of them has things written on them. Some of them are plain. So it's really up to you how you want to decide. So those are two types of sorting, closed or open. Okay, so now I'm going to show you a couple videos where, at least one video, where a child is doing a sorting activity, and then we can talk about what type of sorting was that. Does that sound good?
Yes.
Okay, I'm gonna stop sharing real quick, pull the video. Okay, share my screen. Okay. So this is a kindergarten classroom where the researcher gives the child a collection of rocks and asks them to sort them out. Okay, and let's see what the child does.
So tell me, how did you sort them?
Big, from big to medium to small.
So you sorted them by size. You put all the big ones in a line and you put them in order. So I'm going to mix them up all together and see if you can think a different way.
Okay.
You were sometimes
To mix
before.
it crazy.
Yeah, no, can you figure out another way to make them into groups? You were saying before that ones looked like a pancake, they were flat.
So this one is a flattish.
So
So you put it with the flat, and this looks like a tooth.
I can see that.
This looks like a poo. That looks like poo. Dinosaur poo. And this one looks like the tooth. And these look like this is a flat pancake. And this looks like a bumpy tooth. And this looks like a piece of poo. A splat poo.
Okay.
And this looks like a piece of smushed poo.
Okay.
This looks like a big, smooth piece of molded egg.
Oh, like a kind of an egg?
Yeah, a dead egg.
A dead egg.
This looks like a car. And this looks like a car. And this looks like a car.
Okay. So is this a different group or do these go together?
These don't go to the.
Oh, so this is one group and this is another group.
And this is another group, and this is another group, and this is another group.
Okay, so this was the flat group, this was the tooth group, this was the smooshed egg group, this was the ones that look like a car.
Yeah,
group.
and these are the poop group.
Okay, so this was an example of open sorting where like the teacher, the researcher gave the child a collection of rocks and then can you sort them one way? And then initially he sorted by size and order them, which is one of the big ideas related to the sets can be created and ordered. Um, and then he did it by using the second time he was sorting, it was based on his prior knowledge and what the rocks reminded him of. Like, oh, this looks like egg. This looks like car. This looks like poop. This looks like what a pancake, right? So when you use really like natural materials with sorting, the sorting options are unlimited because what happens is this time around when you give this like open natural materials to children, the imagination takes over, which is a great way of understanding the students' imagination and prior knowledge about the world around them. So it creates more discussion, rich discussion activities, because if you just use these like bears, which is often really, really common in the classroom, you have two options. One of them is it's either can be sorted by color or size, and that's it. And we're spending all this money to get these resources, but then it can only be used two-way and there's no other way. But if you ever just go out and collect a bunch of rocks and bring it, and then you have this kind of activity. So I really like, especially for sorting, using like everyday materials or these kind of like open-ended materials for sorting. So it creates this richer discussion with the kids. Do you have anything to add or ask, Maite?
No, I was just wondering the name of these materials, but like you say, it's open-ended or
Mm-hmm.
how can we
Open
call it
sorting.
neutral? Open, yes, so that
Mm-hmm.
it doesn't have like a specific color or like a specific toy. It's really
Mm-hmm.
more like objects that children can really use their imagination, no?
Mm-hmm.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
Rocks is an example of that. Okay, thank you.
Exactly. Welcome. I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint. And now we're gonna watch a video where an example of a close type of sorting, where this time the child was limited to do the sorting activity by the choice of the person who provided the materials. And again, these two options have time and place. If you are more interested in what kind of groupings my students will come up with, then do open sorting. But if you already taught them about something and you want them to practice that vocabulary, which will be the case now where the child is sorting by shape, attributes, and then by closing their options, you're forcing them to use that terminology continuously. So in this, the first one, open-ended, because I'm just curious what they know and I just want to make it more authentic. That's great too. But again, if you have a goal, like, oh, we just learned about shapes, so I'm going to give them a bunch of different types of shapes and ask them to sort because I want them to keep talking about different attributes of shape without making them talk about it, but in a fun game where we're sorting them and having a conversation about it. So in that sense, both closed and open sorting has a value itself. It's really, as a teacher, you need to decide what your goal is and what you want to focus on. If it's building the language related to certain things that they already learn, closed sorting will be more practical. And but if you want to make it more authentic and where the children are sharing their prior knowledge about things around them, then the open-ended will be more fun activity if your goal is just sorting, not necessarily like there's no agenda about what they need to sort. Okay, let's go look at the second video so you can see how that one is look a little bit different than the open-ended one. So this is again another kindergarten classroom where the child is given blocks from the block corner and asked to sort them by attribute that they decide, the child decides.
So can you make groups of how the shapes fit together?
Wait, does it count? So this is like a triangle, and so is this. Does that count as the same?
It's up to you. You're making the groups. You'll have to tell me why they make a group in a minute, but it's up to you how you organize them. What makes this a group?
Well, these two are rectangles. They're sort of the same, but this one's big and, you know, like fat, but it's still a rectangle.
So, okay. So you're looking at this face, and you're saying that this one is a rectangle, and this one is a rectangle going this way, and that's why they go together. And this one is a rectangle going this way, and that's why they go together. On this face, okay. What about these? Why are these a group?
Because of these, they're all triangles. So practically that way it's sort of triangle-ish, and that's like the rooftop, and roofs are sort of triangle, and this is automatically triangle. It's sort of just the same as this.
So you're looking at the faces of these, and there's triangles going, okay. Some people would say that this is a triangle. Would you agree?
No,
Tell me why not.
because it has a curvy head,
It has a curvy head. Okay,
not a straight.
all right. What makes this a group?
Because they're both the same. Well, this one's longer, but it still counts as the same.
So they're same how?
Well, they're both like sphere. And
Are you talking about the shape here? When you
Yeah.
said sphere, it's like they're.
yeah, well, it's not really a sphere.
Right.
Because like, I just can't remember this.
Is it curve? Is it? Are you looking for the word cylinder, or the word?
Yeah, cylinders.
So they're both cylinders, and they're kind of curved around. Mm-hmm. So that they can roll because they're kind of curved. Okay. What about this one?
Well,
Why is
that
this one in?
Well, it's sort of the same as this one, except it doesn't have do.
So it's almost the same because it has the curve.
It's half circle.
This one is a half circle.
Yeah.
Okay. So could you say that this could go together with this group in a way?
No.
No. No. Okay. What about this one? Why is this one a group all on its own?
Because there's no other one that matches it. I mean, like, this is square, but these are rectangle. This is a square rectangle.
What about if we looked at this side?
Yeah, that part is the same, but still it doesn't really go together because it's not really a, rectangle.
Yeah, so this one, do you see how this is more close sorting because they're blocks, and then they need to look at the attributes of these shapes in terms of deciding how they're similar and different to come up with these groupings.
Right.
Mhm.
I think he probably the child already knew the geometric shapes, so
Mhm.
teacher was practicing. And as you say, it sounds or it looks like closer thing is really to build into something that you are already working with your group
Mhm.
of children,
Yeah.
They can practice any topic related by
Mhm.
what what they are studying. Yeah.
Exactly. So I would, for example, if I were talking about measurement concepts and talking about small, medium, large, I will probably use these bears because they come in three shapes, like small, medium size compared to the other ones, and then the larger size. So they can practice, can you sort these by size? And then And then they use like, oh, these are go together because they're the small ones, and these are go together because they're not as small as this one, but not as big as the big one. So they're like medium because I want them to utilize their understanding, show me what they really understood those like labels that goes with sizing, like measurement concepts, like small, big, medium. Yeah. Okay. I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint and share my screen again. Okay. So what does the development of thinking, what does that look like when it comes to sets and sorting? When it comes to infants and toddlers, like you probably can tell even more about this than I can. But you know, it's really related to their survival. You know, their ability to like be able to sort, recognize similarities and differences is really important for their survival. They do that when they're learning the language. They're like start paying attention to the language that's being spoken around them and try to find the sounds that are repeating, which is like sorting the sounds that they're hearing and recognizing what is repeating. And then when they're babbling, they babble those sounds that they hear more frequently than other sounds. Um, and they do that with people when they're like almost one. Like stranger anxiety comes with like, you don't fit into people that I know. So I'm gonna cry now because I don't know you. So they know that this is a stranger. Like this is not one of my members of my family. So when I'm around other people that is not my immediate family, I'll I'll cry to show my discontent. You know, so we see this ability to sort, not necessarily the way that we're talking about sorting by this or that, but it's really connected to the young children's survival to learn the rules of the world, how to use their body, learning the language, learning the people, and so on and so forth. It's really boils down to their ability to sort. And then you see kids like putting things in their mouth because they're trying to understand what is this? So I can create an idea about this material. Oh, this is like, oh, this is not edible, or this bounces, or this is edible, oh, this is sweet. So they are learning the world around them by literally sorting all the input that they're getting from the environment and then attaching language representations to things that they're learning. But if you have infants and toddlers, working with infants and toddlers, if you want to focus on any activities that are focusing on size and color will be age appropriate for students. I wouldn't focus on numbers or anything like that when it comes to sorting or like measurement concepts, like just, oh, like all the big ones here, these are the small ones, or yellow ones are here, green ones are here, like really, really simple sorting, grouping activities could be developmental appropriate for infants and toddlers. You can provide them like varying colored like toys, shapes, textures that will encourage their exploration. It could be the nesting cubs, you know, the ones that you can build up or put inside of one another, and things like that could be developmental appropriate activities for them. When it comes to preschoolers, focusing on more attributes will be more developmentally appropriate, not just shape or size, but also color, texture, maybe some geometric like language will be appropriate too. So as they are having more experiences by using sorting, by using different attributes, they begin to recognize patterns and then focus on resorting the same collection by looking at different attributes and things like that. What are some patterns that I still see in here other than color? Oh yeah, they have shapes too. These are the ones all with pointy sides, and this one is all curvy ones and things like that. What are some strategies for that we can utilize for preschoolers? Using like shape sorting, sorting trays with objects with different shapes and colors will be appropriate. And again, everyday natural materials are good too. You can sort like utensils, you can sort crayons, you know, sky is the like the limit. Don't feel like you always have to have like this pre-made like manipulatives to in order to provide sorting activities to students. It could be even like coins that they can sort, in the real world materials. So they can see that this is not all about toys, like the real life items can be sorted too. They have qualities. And eventually what you want to start doing with preschoolers, starting with preschoolers, utilizing the sorting experience to build more complex math ideas, and one of which could be like data analysis or counting. So once the children sorted, for example, things by color or shape, you can ask them, don't just stay with like, oh yeah, you have two groups. Then continue with the conversation. Say, oh, I wonder which group has more items. Can we figure this out? So now I'm like, we're moving from sorting to their counting. So we're utilizing this activity that they already completed to build on their counting abilities. Oh, which one has more? Which one has less? Are they even? So they're practicing this language in other mathematical content areas, which is numbers and counting. Another way could be like graphing students, like thinking and sorting. Oh, if you were to like create a graph that represent this data, and this is going to be more like older kindergarten level, like 5 towards kindergarten. It could be like you can put them in order where you have like, oh, we have what you can do is like, for example, I'm gonna have the teddy bears as an example for you. So you can have the teddy bears like this. Maybe you have two reds and you can put them on top of each other on the table like this. Okay, we have two of this, and we have three of this, like this. Or let's just say two. I can hold. So data analysis can look like this. We know when we have a pile, we'll hold it like this, right? I have this, I sorted them by color. Each group has two. Another way of looking at it is like data analysis to show them more vertical, where they're like, oh, look, they're even. We both have like two in here and two. So almost graphing experiences. And if one has more, you can even show like this. Look, it has one more, because 3 is one more than 2. So they see the relationship between numbers, how 3 and 2 is connected, and how they're similar and different, these two groups, numerically. Does that make sense? Okay.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay, good. Yeah, feel free to stop me at any point if something doesn't make
Thank you,
sense.
Bilge.
Mhm.
Thank you.
For elementary kids, again, the sorting ability can be revisited. It's not just for preschoolers and kindergartens. That's something that we can still do in elementary kids too. Again, the sorting will be more complex for them. Or you can use sorting as a way to like help them practice something that they learn. It could be about counting, it could be about shapes, it could be about anything that they're learning. So they can sort by size, by like numbers. They can sort numbers by like ordering them. Or these are the 2-digit numbers and these are 3-digit numbers. If they're learning about numbers with multiple digits, they can sort them. Oh, these are the group numbers that ends with an odd number, and these are the numbers that ends with a even number. Like, so the sorting ability set can still be utilized, but the task will be more complex. That will be more age appropriate for those kids, and where it allows them to practice the language that you want them to keep practicing. Another one could be sorting by mathematical operations. It could be they can be given word problems. Go ahead, Maite.
So, Bilge, when you say that they can sort, for example, by size, so in this sense, when they are in elementary school, they work a lot on worksheets and on the book. So when do you move? When do you move with elementary students? Well, let's say a first grade, 6 years old, 7 years old. They just finished kindergarten. When do you know they are ready to start do this sorting in a piece of paper
Mm.
instead
So
of seeing? Yeah.
yeah, so it really depends on what other concepts that they're learning and how sorting could be helpful. So for example, if they're in first grade, they're going to learn about um, non-standard, utilize non-standard units of measurement to measure items, not like use a ruler, but they're going to use like there may be glue stick as the unit and try to like find items in their classroom measured by glue sticks. So the phone is like 2 glue sticks long. Okay, and then they're gonna look at their notepad and it's like three glue sticks long, our notepad. So what they're gonna do now is they're gonna collect this data and now they're gonna group what are the items are 2 glue sticks long. Write them here. What are some items that you measure that are 3 glue sticks long? And that will be our notepad, our like math book, our this and that. So they're utilizing measurement skill or understanding that they have to sort these different materials that they measured. Does that make sense? So it's really up to you as an educator when you want to utilize sorting or for them to practice a knowledge that they're gaining in other content area in math. So it could be with the non-standard units of measurement. When they're doing measurement activities, they can sort the materials in their classroom by how long they are based on glue stick as a unit. It could be in number and operations as they're using like learning about addition and subtraction, for example, in first grade. They can be given number stories and they can sort the number stories in terms of, oh, I think addition help us solve this problem. Subtraction help us solve this problem. Addition, this problem, I'm not sure which operation helps. So help them have conversation about rather than just jumping in and trying to solve problems, like sort them by what operation, what approach they will use and have a conversation around it. So you can understand their where they're practicing and justifying their thinking in terms of why they think that operation is a better tool to utilize to solve this problem. Does
It
that,
makes
does
sense.
that, mm-hmm.
Yeah, yeah, what you're saying is that you definitely need to have a conversation. So it's not just using a piece of paper and doing the
No,
subtraction
yeah,
or addition. You know, they are so young. I mean, even though
yeah,
they
hands-on,
maybe
yeah,
learn to do it, that's just not the right way to teach it. So it's to
correct.
have a conversation, okay, and to make it
Uh,
into to use it into the practical life and to put it in to be able to use it in an experience. So it's not
mhm.
just a piece of paper. Thank you,
Correct.
Bilge.
Like, welcome. So when the rule of thumb with math, when it comes to supporting young children's math learning, like think about like a triangle like this. The bottom part of the triangle, meaning that the most, like think about like the food pyramid. Like the bottom is like the most the food type that you need to consume. So when it comes to math, the most experience that children have has to have should be hands-on, where they are actually manipulating things. They are like actively engaged. The second half of the pyramid or triangle is where the representational thinking is practiced, which is the worksheets that you're talking about, where there's like an image of something that they're doing something with it. So it's like the idea is represented on a piece of paper. So that's like the second step. The last step is the abstract thinking. So the introduction should be first always hands-on, and then move on to representation, and then finally come to, okay, now you have all this experience. This is like the abstract idea related to this. So an example of this will be like this. So for example, kids are learning counting, and they're counting don't like what not to do is just showing number cards and say one, one. Okay, this two, two, three. Oh, look, now we're counting up to 10. Don't do that. That's the abstract one because three, symbol three by itself, like this, it doesn't mean anything. Do you see it? Does it show up? Oh, it gets blurry. Do you see three?
No, don't worry, but
Okay.
so okay. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. So three, like number three itself doesn't mean anything. It's like the letters. You see the letter and say letter E, you say E. Does E has anything to do with how E sounds? Like E sounds like eh, right? It's just so abstract. Like it's just
Yes.
made up. We just
Yes.
say sing all day long A B C D E F G will not help your students pronounce
Right.
words or spell anything because it's not about the sounds of the words. So think about numbers are the same way too. If we keep showing them number one, two in a written form, it doesn't mean
Mm-hmm.
anything in terms of what that number represent in terms of quantity. So it's important that they have a lot of manipulatives, that they keep counting a collection of sets and touching things and moving things around so they understand that, oh, this is what four looks like. And this is one looks like. So I know by just looking at these two piles, one is less than four, you know? But if you give me
Mm-hmm.
number four and one on a piece of paper, it doesn't tell me anything about what they represent. But it should come last as that's the reason because they need to have enough experience with these first. So they will get the numerical part real like this and memorize it. And then they can do worksheets all day long doing addition and subtraction. But they need to first have these like concrete experiences where they're adding things to one another in a pile. So let's say, oh, Maite has three bears, and I gave Maite one more bear. How many bears that Maite has now? One, two, three, four, four. So instead, do these enough times where the children build
Mm-hmm.
their fluency and then introduce the numerical representations of those numbers and do the worksheets afterwards.
That makes sense, Bilge. That's wonderful.
Welcome. Great.
Yeah.
So, those the types of sorting and the big ideas related to sorting have that can be used in across different grade levels. We also have Common Core state standards in the US that talks about what the child should be able to do at the end of a grade level. So one of the mistakes that teachers often have, they think that the standard, let's look at, for example, kindergarten standard sort objects and count the number of objects in each group. So teachers often think that they have to do it at day one. Not necessarily. They need to be able to do it the last day of school. Can they do this? So the goal is by the end of the grade level, this needs to be accomplished. And again, how that will be accomplished is really up to the teacher and how what kind of learning experience that they're designing. So beauty of Common Core standard is gives you an idea what a child needs to be able to do at the end of a grade level. And the dark side of Common Core standards, it doesn't tell you how to do it. It just tell you do this. But okay, well, how? No, you figure that out. So that's the downside of the Common Core standard. So for example, for someone who's doing the like for kindergarten, using sort objects and count number of objects in each group. It could be for someone who's designing more developmentally appropriate learning experience, provide these materials. Someone who's not will give them a worksheet and like who's doing the more supportive learning experience is going to be this, you know? So that's why we have these discrepancies, even we have common understanding, quote unquote, at what children can do. Everyone does their own way, and then that's where the discrepancy comes in. So we see, even though there's no one specific standard that gets into sorting, but we still see across different grade levels, sorting being utilize as an ability that children need to practice across different grade levels. So we see in kindergarten as sort objects and count the number of objects in each group. In first grade, we see understand and apply properties of operations, which can include sorting objects by operations such as addition and subtraction. And in the second grade, it comes out as under the measurement concept, sort, classify objects according to their attributes and use those categories to analyze, organize data. So when you think about it, this second grade standard is accomplished by that boy who was like sorting the blocks, right? Because he was sorting and classifying the objects by their attributes and use those categories to analyze organized data. He literally did this, like, oh, these are the tooth ones, these are this one, this are that one. So what I'm trying to get at is this is another example of that low threshold, high ceiling. When we give the right materials to students, sky is the limit. They're gonna go beyond what is expected of them because the environment is really supportive of that kind of thinking. So it's sometimes it really boils down to not the age of the child, is what the environment allows the children, affords the children to discover and practice. And then for a kindergartner is can potentially engage in second grade mathematical thinking without even realizing about it. And that's the beauty of like how like what materials are we choosing and why it's helpful. And this is the reason it encourages this complex thinking on this children's end. Okay. So these are some activity ideas or strategies to utilize that are Common Core aligned for kindergarten and first grade and second grade based on those standards. So if you want to meet the standard for kindergarten, encourage them to sort by color, shape, size, encourage counting as they are creating their groups, identify which one has more, which one has less. Using books and pictures or in storybooks is also good to encourage sorting and counting activities. I think, give me a second. I have a book here that I want to show you. I'll come back to it later too, but give me a second.
Take your time.
Okay. I'll just use these for example. This is one book that I like, for example, using with sorting. It's called Five Creatures. Let's see. It gets blurry. I think I have a slide later. So this, I like it because I can
I
unblur
saw
my
it.
background.
Yes, I saw
Did?
it. I
Okay.
can see. Yeah.
So this one is about a family. It has like mom and dad and a child, girl, and two cats. And in each page of the story, family members are sorted and resorted again based on their attributes. For example, so in here it says, 5 creatures living in our house, 3 humans, 2 cats. So here they sort them by what type of, like, are you animal or human being? And 3 short, 2 tall. So the kid counts herself and the cat as the short ones, and the parents are the tall ones. So the book goes on and on like this about sorting the family members again and again by different attribute, by hair, by height, by what they like. So this is what this when I say using pictures or storybooks, this is what I mean, like using like what they already read about, and those stories are also focusing on most of the time like sorting or attributes. So it's a great way to help children make connections between what they're learning and doing in math activities and their reading activities as well. Another one that I like using is shoes, shoes, shoes. And this one doesn't have any words. It has just images of different shoes across different part of countries and cultures and things like that. I like having this available in the classroom. It's not only helps children see what other people wear in different parts of the world, but it's also help them see some similarities and differences. Oh, it seems like people who live in like rainy parts of the world tend to wear boots more. And then compared to people who live in like warmer part where they're more like sandals and things like that. So you can have like these conversations. Why do you think they wear that type of shoe? Oh, it must be really rainy over there. Why do you think they're wearing this type? Oh, it must be really hot in there, you know? So you're talking about and also broadening their like knowledge about the world. For first grade, you can utilize real world objects like I mentioned earlier, like coins, maybe use buttons like this that I have too here. We can sort them by value, type, size, and you can do addition and subtraction problems that requires sorting too, meaning that, oh, like there are like maybe you say, oh, there are 100 coins, I mean, buttons, and 20 of them is my test. How many of them is Bilge's? And so they need to put 20 aside and they need to count what's left over. So they are sorting these buttons by number to find out how many is left for Bilge, kind of, you know? So that kind of you can say also, oh, these are a bag of not coins, buttons, and only the red ones belong to Maite, blue ones belong to Bilge. Find out how many green ones left and how many Maite has, and find out who has the most buttons, you know. And so in here, they need to do grouping in order to find out how many each person has, and they need to do comparison between each group to find out who has the most. And for that one, they need to either add or subtract to see how many more I do compared to you have. So maybe they're gonna sort it out by color, blue and yellow, let's say. And then they find out I have like 28, and if they find out you have 38. So now they need to find out how many more you have than me. They need to take 28 out of 38, meaning that they need to do subtraction. So, but utilizing sorting is a fun way to help them make sense of the problem and create these groups, and now they can do the subtraction to find out what the answer is. And similar with the second grade too, but you can make it like larger numbers and so on and so forth. And this is the one that I was telling you about, the 5 creatures. And this is like that link is like hyperlink. It should take you to, I'll email you this PowerPoint. There's a YouTube link that someone reads the story. And you can use this in the classroom too. You don't have to have the book. Just go to the YouTube link and play the book, and then I can have a conversation afterwards. One follow-up activity that I like doing with the kids, and this was like from Erickson activity idea, is then ask children to sort their own family members at home by an attribute that they choose, and they draw 2 groups of family members. You know, there could be one family member over here, and then there could be 4 family members here, and they can be grouped by eye color or something like that. You know, like they can choose whatever attribute. Hopefully, after reading this book, they will have enough ideas that, whoa, I can sort my family members by this. And you can do this with kindergarten, you can do this with first grade, second grade. And I like this activity is like, especially if they're coming to school for the first time, first weeks of class, it's a good like community building that we talk about our family members, and you get to learn about the students a little bit too.
It is amazing, Bilge. You know, I am
Mhm.
just so impressed of how math is everywhere. Math
Yeah.
is everywhere. Then the other thing that I am seeing is just I realize how much we're pushing children on elementary school to
Mm-hmm.
go to an area that they are not ready yet. It
Mm-hmm.
is almost like probably they memorize things instead
Yep.
of really going through all the process that you just described, because I
Mm-hmm.
see that here, at least in the state where I am now, it's just full of books and worksheets, but there's no development of the thinking, of the
Correct.
really reasoning,
Mm-hmm.
and understanding, grasping the concepts, putting
Mm-hmm.
everything into practice. And I am just so concerned for the children.
I know. I know. And these are the foundational skills that children need to have in order to be a productive member of the society. They need to be able to engage logical thinking, deductive reasoning, and justify their thinking. And then we have then when they're not building these abilities from early on where they can form their own ideas, and as long as you can justify your thinking, then it becomes people don't have any ideas about anything. They're like, okay, and they won't have like political ideas. They're not feeling passionate about anything because they never ask what they think, what do they see, and then they lose that ability to think for themselves and then just become like sheeps moving from one place to another without really
Exactly.
engaging critical thinking.
Exactly.
Yeah.
That's the word. Critical thinking. I was just wondering, it's assertive, but it's not assertive. It's critical thinking.
Mm-hmm.
Right. I think they have a lot of memorization. That's what they are developing,
Mm-hmm.
memorization. I don't even know how they are able to do a subtraction or an addition without all these previous
Yeah.
teaching before. I don't know.
I know. Yeah, because in order to do like think about addition is like creating a larger set, right? You're adding more to a collection of things, whatever that is. And when you think about subtraction, in reality, the bottom line of subtraction is taking away from the collection and making it less. But for understand these actions of taking away or adding, first you need to understand what collection means and how collection can be organized, like meaning that sets are a collection of things, and we can sort them in different ways. And when you think about um, sorting and, for example, multiplication, they're really, really like highly connected to one another because, like this, when you think about multiplication, like let's say 5 times 2, like 5 repeating 2 times, like 5 and 5, 10 makes 10. So you can sort 10 into two groups of 5, and that's multiplication or addition too. 5 plus 5 makes 10. If 10 was a collection of numbers, there are two fives in it. There are 5 twos in it. So I can sort, resort, or when it comes to numbers, we use compose and decompose. So I can compose and decompose number 10 in multiple ways, meaning that it could
Mm.
be 2, 2, 2, 2, 2. It could be 5, 5. It could be 1, 1, 1, 1, 1, like up to 10, or it could be 3, 3, 3, and 1. So I can come up with multiple groupings what 10 might look like. And that's really 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 1 equals 10. 5 plus 5 equals 10. Or 5 times 2 equals 10. So the ability to sort, when they practice enough, visually see, play with it, manipulate it, that it becomes available to kids to more accessible for them to understand what is the role of operations. Like why do we need to do addition? Why do we need to do because to make sense of the sets that we have, the collections that we have, make sense of how much money that we have. So if you see $520 in your wallet, that means you have like $100 because there is 520s and 100. Like it's really a foundational skill to understand more complex ideas. But unfortunately, it become it's so dry the content now, how children are learned. It's kind of like people start hating math when they're like 6, 7 because it doesn't make sense. That sense making is kind of like taken out of the equation, and that's where with the worksheets and things like that, and like it doesn't make
Exactly.
sense. Yeah.
It is taking them the real willingness, like the interest in learning.
Yeah. Curiosity, right? It's not that I
Exactly,
don't know.
curiosity. The word,
Mm-hmm.
exactly. I'm gonna get this book,
Mm-hmm.
and I can find it in Spanish, but otherwise I will use it in English. And I am so excited to use your knowledge into our school and into the children, to teach it to the children in Yucatan. Thank you so
Awesome.
much,
Yeah.
Bilge. Thank you so
Yes, of course. I have some other book ideas too.
much.
The website is underneath the link. I just took a
Uh-huh.
screenshot of the page. So there are more
Okay.
other books here too.
Uh-huh.
So you can go use the link. It will take you to the book suggestions, like a pair of socks, grandma's bottom box. I think there are Spanish books here too. So you can even look at it by language.
Uh-huh.
So
Uh-huh.
go to this website and check out more book options that you can have. That gets into sorting.
That's wonderful, Bilge.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Do you want to watch a large group activity
Yes,
where
of course.
the teacher is doing a sorting activity with students? Okay.
Yes, please.
Okay, let me pull the video. So this one, it's a multi-language learning classroom. So English is not their first language. So keep that in mind, these students. Okay. Do you see the video? You good? Okay.
I chose the book Five Creatures because in the story there's a family of 2 cats and 2 adults and 1 child. Do you remember the other day we read this story? On each page, the creatures are sorted by a different attribute. And I thought that would be a good introduction to the lesson because the children have to sort themselves by different attributes. So we're going to have 5 creatures as sorters and 5 creatures as the audience. Okay? And I want the sorters to stand up. Could you all stand up, please? And you're going to stay sitting. Now, let me see. I'm going to be looking at what you're wearing. And we are going to sort ourselves by what you're wearing. So, the children that are wearing boots come to this rectangle. If you are wearing boots. Where should you go, Yihang?
In the red.
Come on. The children who are wearing shoes come in this rectangle. Yeah. Joseph, which rectangle do you belong in? Are you wearing boots or shoes, Joseph?
Because she has boots.
Let's have a look. Let's show everybody so we can figure it out. How about Joseph, audience? Michelle, this is your job. Have a look at Joseph. Is he wearing boots or shoes?
I know.
What is he wearing?
Shoes.
Shoes. So which rectangle should he go in?
No, the landlord.
Oh, okay. Over here, Joseph. There we go. So why is just Yihang in this group?
Because he's wearing boots on himself.
She's wearing boots. And why are all of the other creatures in this group?
Because they just have shoes.
Oh, they're wearing shoes. So what could we call this group? What can we call this group? What did you say, Yihang?
I said boots. I hear you all say boots.
You heard Yihang say boot. What do we call this group? The boot group.
Okay.
And if this is the boot group, what can we call this group?
Shoes group.
The shoes group. What a good idea. All right, so come on out, creatures, and stand. We're going to think of another way to sort you. Stay standing. No, stand up. We're going to stay standing. Stand up. Yihang, come out of your rectangle. Let's see. I am looking at the children. I hope you're all looking at the children, too. We need to think of a way to sort this group. What about the children who are wearing zippers? With an audience, they're able to see the children who are sorting themselves from a different angle. They may see things that we can't see while we're standing. They're sitting a little back and they're able to watch and observe more closely. Michelle just noticed something. What'd you say, Michelle?
Jihan, his boots have zipper.
I didn't look at Yihang's boots. Look at your boots, Yihang. Are there zippers there? So what group should you belong to if you have a zipper?
The yellow.
Come on in. Wow, our group changed. It's a good thing the audience is paying attention. One of my students, Jasmine, decided she wanted to sort the children by long hair versus short hair, which was really something different than we had been doing because we were focusing on clothing. And she was able to make the generalization and move to the hair of the children, a body part. What is this group called? What should we call this group?
The long hair group.
Oh, the long hair group.
I know it.
And what about this one? Stephanie, what do you think?
Shorter.
Short hair group. People Sort was my favorite lesson because it really gave the children a chance to get involved and active. They were really paying attention to details and they saw many things that I didn't even see.
Yeah,
Oh, I
they're
love
so
it.
cute, right? I know.
Children are so naturally smart and they are so attentive to so many details. We just need to
Mhm,
give them the opportunity, as you say, to think and reason about, to
mhm.
provide it.
Yeah,
Wonderful.
and this is another like low threshold, high ceiling kind of activity where
Mm.
like anyone can jump in. Like anyone will notice something that they are like it's not like it's about the appearance, about the attribute that they pick, right? It's so in that sense it's like open sorting. Like anyone can join and share, oh, let's sort them by what they're wearing, let's sort them by their hair length. The kids feeling like they keep thinking about it. What else can we use? What else can we sort them by? And that's what you want them to think. Persevere, like keep thinking about the problem ahead they have. And so they can come up with these multiple options for them. And it's a good way to also utilize this book and connect this to their like activity that they're doing in the classroom. Yeah. Okay. And it's also like children were enjoying it, right? This is going on and on and on. And that's another beauty of these like hands-on. And this time the children's bodies and what they're weighing is the manipulative that they are looking at and sorting it out.
Mhm.
Okay, I'm gonna go back to the PowerPoint. I think we have a few more slides left. I need to share first. Okay. So, to make sure that, like, oh, am I providing these experience to my students? Ask yourself, like, do children match objects in my class by shape, color, size, texture, or any other attributes? Can they describe objects by using their attributes? Can they sort things by shape, size, color, texture? Can they sort the same collection again and again by using different attributes? Am I providing these opportunities for them? So if your answer is no, think about like what can you change to make that
Mm.
accessible? And if your answer is yes, then what else can you do to build on these like things that you're already doing?
This is a great reflection slide.
I know. So think about it. Some things that language that you want to support is like same, different. Yeah, they're same in terms of this. Yes, they're different compared to this. Or they match because they both have, like these kind of words that we want to keep encouraging children to use as they're talking about their thinking. Explain why they think they go together, why this is a group similar to that rock group, like the person was keep encouraging the child to, oh, like, so are these the same group or different group? No, they're different. Like, why are they different? Because
Mhm.
this. Playing matching games are also helpful. Like when the kids are matching things, they can say like why they go together.
Mm.
You can incorporate sorting into your daily routine too. You can maybe you're moving from one room to another. You can ask children to line up by the length of their hair, like the shortest at the front, the longest hair maybe by height, so you're incorporating this ability even like in your routines and things like that. You can play games like what's my rule? You can sort things out, a collection, and ask children, what is my rule? So you can flip the script too. Like instead of asking children to sort things, you sort a collection and ask children, what do you think is my rule? What is the attribute that I use? And see what their answer is. So it can be like you can flip it that way too. That's always fun too. And then the kids can sort without everyone else is looking, and then audience needs to guess what is the rule and things like that. The cleanup time, it's really encourages sorting too, because everything has to go to where they belong to, their bins and things like that. So those are all great ways of doing it. And this, I think this is one of the final slides that talks about how sorting really shows up in different content areas related to math that are more complex abilities. So it shows up in number and operations, like in geometry, we sort the shapes, measurement, we compare and contrast based on their like size or length. And for that, you need to sort. And data analysis, in order to understand which one is more or less, you need to first sort it out and identify what is the number that you need to compare to in each group and things like that. And these are some websites that has like online games and manipulatives related to sorting. You can go to them and check it out, and you can utilize it in your classroom if you ever do online teaching and things like that. These are fun, like developed for educators kind of websites. So in your own time, go ahead and check it and see how you can utilize them if you find anything meaningful on your end. And then I have some visuals that you can utilize in the classroom with your students, similar to one that I show at the beginning when which one doesn't belong. And we call them like conversation starters, math thinking activities where like you're warming their brain up almost about the concepts that you want them to learn. These are some like other visuals that you can use, like which figures below are the same. Some kids will say these go together because these are both triangle, these are both circles. Someone else will say, well, these go together because these are both green and these are orange, things like that. And sky is the limit in terms of like what. These are some other additional visuals that you can utilize, which one doesn't belong. Again, depending on the grade level, the visual gets more complex. This is going to be for older kids. This is going to be for younger kids. No. And will be for everyone who consume these food items too, that anyone can join, even for adults too. And these are some visuals.
I'm getting
And that's the
hungry.
end of it. I know, right on time.
Oh, bravo. Thank you so much, Bilge.
Welcome. So this is like the first, I want to start with this, and then next time we're going to talk about number sense, how children
Okay.
understand numbers, and what are some things that we can help children understand what numbers represent, so they can understand more complex ideas related to numbers. Yeah.
Thank you so much for your time, for your wisdom, and I
Of
am so
course.
grateful and excited to start applying everything that I've been learning with you, and Candy is going to join too.
Okay.
Thank
I'm
you.
going to stop